So nice to see everybody. Have a seat, cross your shins. Lift your spine, place your hands on your thighs, press down, lift the chest up, spine up, drop your shoulders. Press down again through the hands, lift the spine up, take a nice deep breath. Exhale, draw your back ribs towards each other, stretch your side rib forward, lift the front ribs up, drop your shoulder and keep your chin up, let your eyes close. I often start class, just before we physically get into it, we've bowed our heads and our palms are together by saying, acknowledge the essence of yoga in you. And for me, it's a line that my teachers shared with me, that life is never stuck, static, or stale. Before we begin, take a moment to recognize that change can often feel like it's out of our control. Because we take in so much information from across the world or in situations that are past our intervention in them, change can feel like it's out of our control. We often get then easy to find ourselves swept up with anxiety or worry. It has been for me in my past. But one of the lessons that I think yoga offers us is that change is something that will happen, but how we work with that change, not how we control it, but how we encourage it, work with it, learn from it. And what we take from that change is the important stuff. Whether we take a lesson, the old example, like sticking your finger in a socket when you're a kid, you'll learn, the change is you learn not to do that. Or how we sit in yoga poses or hold our body in certain ways to heal it or work with it. Change is going to happen. We can make a choice to learn from how change goes, evolve with it, or we fight it and wear ourselves out. Not that there aren't good things worth fighting for, but how do we keep working with change? So what changes is something that we can live with. Something that we can learn to appreciate, enjoy, and grow from. So tonight, my friends, as we go through the practice, whatever it may be, hard, easy, sad, angry, whatever comes up for you, recognize you have the choice of fighting it, fighting the change that the practice is offering you to learn from. And I'm not saying totally just give into it, but see what it's showing you that can be changed. You feel like your hip can't move, the awareness in your hip shows you can. You've just got to learn from it and feel it. You're having a bad day in a pose, maybe it's time to learn what change the pose is offering you that might be encouraging the negative thought. Change will happen regardless. How we learn from it, grow with it, and encourage it to serve us, that's the lesson. So to let our practice be one, friends, of change, of moving with grace in it, maybe not ease, change is not always easy, but grace, patience, and other aspects that you need to help change happen in your life in a way that does not leave you battered, beaten, exhausted, or feeling left behind and unheard. Take a nice deep breath in. Bring your palms together at the chest, thumbs touching your sternum. We'll shortly 3 times and begin. Oh. Flex your feet. Oh. Chin lifted, chest up. Oh. Bow your head. Salute the essence of yoga inside yourself. Bring the palms into the lap. Let the head rise and the eyes open. So nice to see people. Some more people have gotten in. So lovely to see everybody. Let's come to a standing position. We'll do a couple standing poses, warm up the body, not too much. There's lots of seated back stuff, backward bends, things like that to do. It is the darker hours of the day. Here in Texas, it's 6:08 and it's already dark. Not great. So stand up on your yoga mats if you would. All right. This is recording. I'm just reminding myself that it's thighs together, feet together in Tadasana, please. Heels touching, calf muscles together. Remember, as we've talked about, or I've talked about, and hopefully you've listened in past classes, that Tadasana is not shrugging the shoulders back, but widen the shoulders away from the neck. So widening the shoulder means on the 3 sides, the front, the side, and the back. So if you feel like you're widening across the front, but your back shoulders are coming towards each other, that's a backward bend. Widen the front, but if you over widen the back till your shoulders roll forward, not quite getting the thing. You got to work both sides equally and then let your shoulders lengthen away from your neck, like you're widening the collarbone from the base of your skull to the tip of your shoulder and from the top of your shoulder blade down to the outer shoulder joint. Lift all 10 toes up off the floor for a moment. And without looking down, do your best. Place your big toes on the floor and keep everything else up. Big toes up. Place your pinky toes down. Check in with your legs. Try to keep them still active and together. Lift your pinky toes up. Place your big toe, pinky toe down, middle 3 lifted. Do the best you can. As you start to try and move the toes of the foot, you might feel your balance shift. Remember, sometimes big changes can happen from small actions. So try to let your focus be just on those toes, and then your awareness, your action be on those toes, and your awareness be, how is this affecting my body? Am I tending to roll more on one foot more than the other? Is one foot pressing harder into the ground more than the other? Try to create some level of equalness by backing off of the side that's working harder. It's not that one side of you is weak or bad. That's a negative explanation of oneself. Don't accept it. I don't, at least. There's nothing weak or bad about you. There's overworked. There's, injured. So if you feel one leg really strong and the other just can't seem to be as strong, back off of that leg that's overworked. Let it soften a little so it can be equal with the other half. Remember, yoga is about balance, not about, getting one half of you in really good mobility and then the other half catching up. Take your legs wide, 3.5 to 4 foot apart. Take both hands onto the floor in front of you. Standing straddle stretch, Pasada Padottanasana. Easy forward fold to start warming up the body, feel the hips, hamstrings. But again, check your feet. Does one foot press harder into the floor more than the other? Can you flex the thighs equally with your toes pointing forward? So you start to get some of that stretch, some of that length to the hamstring. So from here, we're going to always reset back to this position, standing straddles. We do some rotational hip work, moving the upper torso side to side to some different poses. Turn your right toes out to the right, bend your right knee and take both hands to your right foot without picking your chest up. So walk your hands along the floor to that right side so you're in a lunge. Your left foot stays where it is. Your left leg should be just as active as it was from the last pose to this pose. So your left heel is pushing into the floor. The left leg is nice and long. So you're moving from standing straddle to a lunge. So you're having to lengthen the spine, move the left side of your spine longer than the right. And then kind of feel the challenge in keeping your left leg in the pose, even though the rest of your body moved. In doing that, you're going to ask certain parts of your body to become stable during movement, which is a part of how yoga helps keep our body less prone to injury when we're doing other things out in the world, whether you are a runner or a tennis player or you just fall. When we move without stability or balance, we put a lot of weight and pressure on smaller joint sets and muscle sets, knees, hips, ankles. Walk both hands back to center, turning your right toes in, straightening the right leg. Get your legs even and active here. Now, even though the left side of your body, your whole torso is going to move to the left, focus on your right leg, keeping it stable. Can that stability help you move with grace, whatever that means to you or might feel like to you, to the left, turn your left toes out, bend the left knee, and use the stability of that right leg, the power, the pressure of it to turn your upper torso to the left. There you go. So the movement just doesn't happen from your low back and your knees. That the strength of your left leg through the extension and the pushing of it through the floor can help your upper body adjust and move. Same thing would do when we're doing our one-legged standing poses. A lot of our pose work, especially if you look at old videos of Mr. Angar doing a vinyasa movement from one thing to another, he gets to a point, like he'll start to transition, he'll stabilize a body part, an arm and a leg, and then the rest of his body just moves off of that stable point. He doesn't throw himself and catch himself. Nice deep bent left knee, strong right leg pressing through the foot. Is the right leg still pressing into the floor with the same strength as standing straddle? It won't be exactly the same, but does it still have that same stability that straddle gave you? Take both hands back to the right, straightening the left leg, rotating the left toes in. All right. Make the right leg or the left leg strong. Push through the foot. Feel the work that it does into your left and right hip. Feel the stretch of the hamstring. Turn your right toes out to the right. Walk both hands to your right foot back into the lunge. Still working that left leg. The right knee is nice and bent. So now your left and right leg are both set into the position for warrior two. The thing that is going to change is your pelvis, your spine, and the rest of your upper torso. So be aware for a moment. Feel the strength of your right leg. Are you really pushing through the right leg to help you lift? Are you pushing through the left leg to be stable? So when you lift your spine, you're not going to fall one way or the other. Be aware of that before you start focusing on everything else. Take a nice breath. Stretch both arms straight out away from your body. Pick your torso up into warrior two, but keep the legs. Rotate both arms wide. Bit of a Josana two. Nice. And then be aware. Check in with your left and right leg. Did your right knee straighten? Did it bend more? Did your left? It doesn't have to be rigid, but just can you keep that so that you start to feel free moving your spine? We're going to come up and down into this pose a few times to kind of find the mobility that gives the spine and sacral plate. But that only happens when the legs are stable in their action, not locked, but stable, where you can feel the balance and you feel strong enough in them to, when you feel strong and safe enough in the stability of your legs to start moving your spine. Take both arms straight up. Turn your upper torso to face your right leg and then take both hands back down to the foot. Right knee stays bent. Notice the tendency to want to straighten the right leg, to put the weight in the knee. That's where we will hurt ourselves one day. I've had lots of knee injuries and hip and back issues because I fling myself through poses. My mobility did not serve me. Stability. Push down through the right foot again, strong left leg. Exhale, stretch your arms back out, bring your body up. Once your spine is all the way up, stretch your arms wide, twist your spine to warrior two. So you're building from the ground up. Stretch your arms as you're working your legs. Take a nice breath. We're not going to hold this forever because the more important thing is, can we be aware of where we're going from to what we're going to and how we're transitioning in a manner that allows us less fear in our ability to move. Take both arms up, rotate your torso to the right so you're facing out over the thigh. Fold forward, take your hands down last. Last time, take a nice breath. Work your legs here. Now that your hands are down, you can feel your thighs, feel your legs. Stretch both arms out in front. Take your body up. Get your spine long. Lift. Work your legs. Untwist to warrior two. Good. Extend. Now, before we go back down, wiggle your left foot a little farther away. Make your stance a hair wider. Just tiny, like half an inch. Doesn't have to be a big thing. But it's a thing of finding that now that you've done it 3 times, the muscles of your body, consciously, subconsciously, there's a little more security in the movement. So open up to newer space. Take the security and ability you have and use it to explore farther. Take both arms up, even if it's at half an inch. Rotate your torso to the right. Take both hands back down. Good. Take both hands to the left back to standing straddle. Turn your right toes in. Pivot on your left heel, turn your left toes out, bend the knee, taking both hands to your left foot. So same thing on the other side. If you have an injured area or an area you don't feel stable or secure in, it does not help to stay away from it. But as Mr. Anger would say, run towards the roar. Challenge yourself to find mobility and stability in those areas that are scary, immobile, hurt, so you can feel safe in moving them again. Take a nice breath. Keep your right leg really working. Notice how from the lunge or from standing straddle to the lunge, what changed? The left knee is nice and bent, knee above the heel. Stretch both arms out. Take a breath. Exhale, bring your body up. Lift your spine, get the long extension, then untwist the spine to warrior two. This is just allowing us to move the pelvis on the stability of the legs to create range of motion in your hip flexors, hip extenders, groin, back, spine, all of it. Every pose is a pose for the whole body. What we're focusing on, how we're working with it, that's up to how we get in and out of the poses. Take both arms up again, turn your torso to the left, to the modified warrior one for a moment. Exhale, bring both your chest down, then your arms down last. Keep the length of your spine. Don't let the thing you got from the pose totally dissipate. So you're in the lunge, set your legs, even if you feel like you didn't lose them, check in. Are you gripping your toes into the mat rather than pushing the whole of your foot into the mat? Stretch your arms out, take a breath, keep your legs, extend your spine up, lift the spine, untwist the spine back to warrior two. Stretch the arms wide when your spine is fully untwisted. And breathe. Arms up, rotate to the left, hands down, chest down, hands down. Was that the second time? Check with your legs. By about the 3rd time, you're getting tired and it's in the fatigue where you're really going to learn something about the stability of your body. Can you focus and maintain the good habits even when it's hard? Right? Easy to be a hero when you have all the resources in the world. It's hard to be, good when things are challenged, when you have to sacrifice or force. Stretch your arms out, bring your spine up, lift the spine, extend it, rotate the spine first, and then stretch the arms wide. A few deep breaths here. Both arms up, Turn to your left, fold forward at the hips, at the spine, long, hands down. Walk your hands back along the floor, back to standing straddle stretch. Saripodata. And then check in. If there's anything different, if anything needs to be modified for your body stability. Turn your right toes out. Take both hands to the right foot, bend the right knee. So part of what creates freedom of movement is engaging muscles that are often unengaged during the normal parts of our life. There is a tendency towards being more sedentary. We all have very comfortable chairs. A lot of us work at computers. But the full mobility of your body is not just in the things you do every day, it's in the uncommon things. Why yoga is very challenging. So, that all said, from here, straighten your right leg, pushing your right hip back as best you can. Does not have to go perfectly straight, but can you keep the strength of your right foot pressing into the floor when your knee is bent as you start to lengthen the leg? Even if the leg doesn't go perfectly straight, can your left and right leg still work with the same awareness of its connection to the ground, the stability of the leg, so that when you feel the knee start to straighten because the muscle is pulling it long, or as Mr. Iyengar would say, you lengthen the knee from the leg muscle, moving it. Can you feel the thigh do the movement rather than the joint doing the movement, and then you just keep trying to flex the thigh to push on the joint? I don't care if the knee is perfectly straight or not. There is no such thing as straight in a knee because it's a round joint. I would rather have a bent knee, but a very engaged thigh that is moving the hamstring, moving the hip, than a straight knee that is strained. Bend the right knee. Keep your right thigh flexed, pushing your right foot into the floor. Think about your outer right hip, that right side of your hip joint where it connects into the buttock. You can put your hand on it if you like. Move that now by moving the thigh. When you flex your right thigh, push through the foot with the same strength. Move your outer right hip straight back to the world behind you. Like your femur bone, the large bone between your knee and your hip, is moving back. Your muscles are pulling that bone back towards that hip. So the calf muscle has to flex to push the foot into the floor. So everybody micro bend your right knee and think about your calf muscle. Look at it, feel it, cramp it, and push it into your shin bone. The more you push your calf muscle from flexing it into your shin bone with your knee slightly bent, and then your right thigh muscle pushes your hip back, then you're going to find some stuff in there. Huh, Trith? She's already shaking. All right. Bend the right knee again. Keep the right knee bent above the right heel. Stretch both arms straight out in front of you. Keep that left leg, even though I don't say it, you're still in it. Pick your spine up long. Rotate to warrior two. First your spine, then your arms. Yeah, you didn't think you were coming back. You're coming back. Now, straighten your right leg. But remember what you did? The right thigh pulls the hip to the left, back behind you. The calf pushes into your shin bone. Now stretch both arms straight up. Turn your upper torso to the right again and fold forward, taking both hands back towards the floor. Your knee may bend more, but it's a different way of engaging into the pose. Now you learned how to get into it from a low position and a high to low position. Your spine, your core muscles had to learn to work to lift. For those of us that have a lot of pain in our shoulders, our neck, our back, or any numbness down our limbs, the kind of extensionary work we're doing, the lifting and moving, the rotational stuff we're doing from these positions is there to engage the abdominals better and the muscles better to create lift of the spine, not compression. Bend your right knee, walk both hands back to the left, back to straddle, turn your toes in slightly. Check in with your legs, feel the difference one side to the other. Bend your left knee slightly, turning your left toes out to the left. Take both hands to your left foot. Start with the knee bent. You know this position from the last time we did it. So go back, you know that you can be stable here. You know you can work here. So start with that. Give yourself a starting point that you know you're capable of working. Then lengthen the left leg. Use the left femur bone or the muscle, the thigh, to pull that hip back. And keep your left knee slightly bent. Go to your left calf muscle. Push it into that shin bone like you're trying to push your shin bone up off the floor from that muscle itself. The muscle lowest to the floor should support to lift the bone structure of the body. The calf pushes the shin up. The hamstrings pushes the hip up a little bit. That's what creates the stretch. The femur bone moves from the thigh. Bend your left knee. Left hand, remember, if you wanted to put your left hand on your left hip, just to always remember that's the part that moves, that is being created, that is moving from this, that's fine. Flex your left thigh, keep it flexed. Move that muscle towards that hip, so that hip, that bone moves that hip back. And then as your leg starts to lengthen, feel your left calf, keep it flexed so you don't lose it. I would rather you have your knee bent at a point where both muscles can work and you feel the pose rather than trying to force past it and only get half of your body involved. Last time I checked, yoga is a whole body practice. And even though it is very popular in our culture to ask for the silver bullet that can cure our wounds, like, oh, my hip hurts, my neck hurts, I need one yoga pose. It takes a lot of other stabilizing parts and pieces to make one part feel better. Bend the knee, left knee bent, check in with your right leg. Stretch both arms straight out in front of you. Exhale, pick up from the core, lifting your spine. Untwist your spine to warrior two. Spine first, then arms. Now, straighten your left leg. Stretch that left hip towards the right. Left calf pushing up into the shin bone. Arms up. Stretch your spine long, twist to your left. And then best you can, if you need to bring your arms down first, that's okay. Bring your chest down towards your left thigh and your hands towards the floor. Use chairs, use blocks. Modify however you need to, even though I'm not specifically asking you to grab a prop. If you can't reach the floor, use a block or a chair. No, nothing is wrong with that. The mobility we're creating is the important part, not the sense of, oh, I'm the super yogi, I'm on the floor. If your floor is if you have pets, your floor is anything like mine, just got some pet fur on it. There's no enlightenment on it, trust me. No, Tristan says. If corgi fur was enlightening, it'd be a very enlightened house. Soft left knee, strong left calf pushing into the shin. You might also get a foot cramp from doing this because of the muscles of the foot it takes to flex to do that with your calf. If that happens, I'm happy for you. Bend your left knee, walk both hands to the right, back to the straddle. Take this standing straddle as a moment just to kind of recoup, check in with your body. Turn your right toes out. Take both hands to your right foot, bending the knee. Keep your left leg as is. Your left leg's done a lot of work. Take your right hand, place it on your right thigh. Push your hand into the thigh to twist to your right as best you can, to turn your right ribs towards the ceiling. So you're using the arm to help twist, but the spine and the core muscles must engage to it also. Keep pushing your right hand into your right thigh, twisting your right ribs up to the ceiling. So it's a revolved side angle for a moment. The important part is this. Can you keep your right leg as strong and your left leg as strong and your core twisted when you take your left hand 1 inch off the floor? Now push your right hand into the thigh more without your left hand and twist. Let your left fingers touch the floor for balance, and then keep your core flexed and take your right arm straight up to the ceiling. Your left hand's on the floor for balance. Make the twist happen from your core, any degree. Take a breath, bring the arm down. Stretch both arms straight out in front of you, right knee bent, left leg still strong. Bring your spine up tall, long body. So you're in warrior one, right? We've moved through a bunch of different poses to try and create some flexion, mobility to the spine, forward bend, backward bend, and twist, and inversion. We're moving the spine in the 4 healthy directions. So now, twist more to your right. Twist your heart and your abdomen to the right hip more. Stretch your left arm out the same direction as your right knee. And now keep the right knee bent. Take your left fingers towards the floor, but your right arm still stretches for the ceiling as much as it can. So the core has to twist. So you're moving forward and rotating deeper into the revolve side angle. Keep your legs. Let your legs be stable. So no matter how much or little you twist in your chest, you are building an emotional, conscious, and subconscious level of my legs got me. Even if you're modifying with props, whatever it is, fingers are on the blocks, hands are on chairs, you're still working from the stability of what you got and supporting it. Bring the body up. Good. Turn your right toes in. Take both hands back onto the floor into standing straddle. How'd you come up out of that one? We won't do that one 3 times. Not yet. We'll do it a 3rd time here in a moment. We're just going to give you a break because that's a lot. Been doing this 30 minutes. Only like 3 people have left the class. Pretty good odds. Turn your left toes out. Bend your left knee. Take both hands to the left foot. Right hand stays on the floor for a moment. Take your left hand. Place it on your left thigh near the knee. Push your left hand into the thigh to help twist. So there's your shoulders and your back. As you push your left hand into your thigh to help you twist, now float the right fingers just an inch or so off the floor. You don't want to go up real high, just bend your elbow. And now push your left hand into your thigh harder and twist more while your fingers aren't touching the floor if you can. And then let your right fingers just gently touch the floor. Let them be balanced. They don't need to be weight bearing. They're balance point. Your core is holding you up. Stretch your left arm up for the ceiling. And then see the difference one side to the other, because it's going to be different. Keep your left knee bent, Chaya. There you go, dear. Take a breath. Rotate the navel any degree more. Keep your legs as they are. Right leg straight, left knee bent. Bring both arms straight up, warrior one. Legs have done very minimal movement. The leg positions have just been either straight or one bent knee. You see how much movement warrior one, both arms up, offers this one position, these 2 positions of the legs, either both legs straight or one knee bent, offers a variety of poses from just how you move your spinal column. Ton of yoga work can be done there. It's really beneficial. All right, from warrior one, twist more to your left as best you can. Turn your abdomen, your ribs, even if you don't go far. Stretch your right arm straight out in front of you, the same direction your left knee is pointing. Reach that shoulder out. Use the shoulder stretching away from your ribs to help twist. Exhale, fold forward, taking your right fingers to the floor, but your left arm always stretches for the sky. The left knee is still bent. The legs have not changed. Because even if you wobble and fall, as long as you're not dead, you made it, but you wobbled. That's okay. Left arm reaching for the sky. Nice deep breath. We have moved the spine in the 4 healthy directions we can move a spine. Forward, backward, twisting, and inverting. Inverting being standing straddle. So you've already started to create some strength, some stability of the spine. You've taught the limbs to hold it. Bring the body all the way up. Straighten your left leg, turn your left toes in. Bring your arms down. Go back to Tadasana for a moment. No, arms down, not into the pose. I didn't say straddle. Just arms down alongside your body. Bring your feet together into Tadasana. You got your vinyasa head. Stop listening. Tadasana, please. So you've moved your body all this time. You spent the last 30 minutes warming your body up. So now do Tadasana with that warmth, with the stability of your legs. Lift all 10 toes off the floor. Shoulders on the front, back, and top go wide away from your neck, not forcing one side harder than the other. If you want balance, you practice balance. If you want force, you practice force. I think we've all dealt with enough force for a while. Without looking down, place your big toes on the floor, keep everything else up. Take your big toes up, place your pinky toes down. Pinky toes up, try to place big toe, pinky toe down, but don't lose that lift, that spread of the spine. Keep your legs active in the work so that even whether you're doing a big thing like moving your spine in all these directions or small stuff of toes, it's the discipline and the focus you have to feel comfortable working from where you are. That creates a lot of safety mentally, emotionally, in a lot of different future projects. It's how you start building trust with your yoga practice, ultimately trust with yourself. And that's so important to having a home practice. But all right, come out of Tadasana, have a seat on the floor, stretch both legs wide into seated straddle, please. So seated straddle stretch, decided post Dattanasana. Pasari. So legs are nice and wide. If you have a block or two nearby, I would grab them. Just grab one block. Take one block, just so we have a little block education moment here. This is tall when the block is at its full height. This is on its side. This is flat. So take your block on its side, place it under your right calf muscle from the thickest part of the calf down towards the thinnest. So you see Tristan's modeling right now. She puts it right where her leg was, puts her right calf up on the block. So the reason for this is we've worked on this in the past where we're resetting the hip muscles in the inner groin to release the lower back. Take your fingertips just back behind you on the floor or on another prop if you need, and press your fingertips. When I mean fingertips, do not push your palm into the floor, just the 5 digits. Or as one of my students like to say, don't smash your cupcake, right? Imagine you had a cupcake, don't flatten it. Push your fingertips down and lift your chest spine up. Now, feel the pressure your fingertips are pushing into the floor. Push that same pressure in your left calf and in your right calf. The right calf will be easier because, like in chest to knee pose, that bent knee allows you to flex more muscle because now you cannot isolate it all to one joint. So as you press your fingertips down, notice how your shoulders want to roll forward, right? Remember Tadasana, the broadness of the front, the top, and the back body. Try your best. Try to work balance. And then work your right calf. Notice the difference from how you're pushing your left thigh down and calf down versus your right. And can you soften your left knee to then try and work greater muscle, the thigh, especially the inner thigh, and the flexion of the calf muscle itself. Mr. Angar always talked about soft joint, strong muscle. He didn't always, but it was a thing he commonly said. I think an important part of the yoga practice, especially at this time of the year when we are dealing with less sunlight, probably less physical activity, right? We're not going out. I'm not certainly going out and running in 30 and 40 degree weather. We have to work with muscles that are less actioned. And the tendency when we have muscles that are less active is to work the joint. Sedentary lifestyle also encourages that. So can you let your practice at this time of the year when we're supposed to be hibernating be about maintaining healthy movement rather than, oh, I have to act like this is summer. I have to perform like this is the hottest time of the year. It's not recognizing that we all change. All right, take your right calf block out, put it under your left. If you don't have blocks at home, you can put a big soup pot under your calf leg. Saucepans work really well. Books. Very big dogs that are very strong. Patient. Desktop computers, whatever you got. Fingertips on the floor behind you. Open across the chest, the top of the shoulder, the back. Start to push your legs down. Connect the calf, the fingertips, and the hips into their surfaces. And then check on pushing your left calf down. Can you push the inner calf and outer calf down equally? Can you push down as much close to the knee at the thickest part of the calf and the thinner part of the calf? And then see the difference now with your left leg versus your right. And can you feel the work of your left leg, the flexion, the pressure of it? Can you start to feel like you can create that in the right side, even as the right side already had the experience? Don't worry, we're going to move the spine. That's coming. Going to lift, make it all work. So just spend the next 30 seconds, though, breathing, kind of working the leg muscles and see which muscle doesn't want to work, which one does. For me, on my straight leg, my thigh muscle tends to, it always used to, and it still tends to want to unflex. And then I find I'm gripping my groin or I'm hunching in my lower back. Other joints want to do the work. Small connective tissue is there. Let it move. A few more seconds. Take a few breaths. See how everyone's doing here. Chest up nice and tall, Miss Shuba. There you go, dear. Good job, everybody. Or at least everyone that has their camera on that I can see. Even if you don't have your camera on, good job. Micah, make sure your calf block is on the thicker part of your calf and not near your ankles, lower calf as much. All right. Take your left leg off. Stretch both legs out for a moment on their own. No block. Just let your chest lift. Flex your thighs and see if maybe you feel a difference in the hip groin. Yeah. A little bit of release. When we stabilize and ask the bigger muscles to work, not to be just stronger, but to be stable, to be active, it does a lot to release the tension areas. Misperception that something is wrong with the areas we have tension or pain in, that it's their fault or problem. It is not always that. Take your block, place it under your right calf again. So with the block under your right calf, along the thickest part of the calf down to the thinner. Bend your left knee by using your left hand on your inner left knee joint. Pick the knee up and pull your left heel towards the left groin, the left side of your groin. So you're in a very modified jhana. Left hand can go on the left knee near the shin. Right hand goes just behind you near the right hip. Push with your right fingers, lift your spine up. Pull with your left hand, rotate your torso to the right as far as you can. Twist. Push your right calf down into that block. Just flatten that thing. Now, your left hand should not push down on your left knee, but should be on the front side of the shin near the bony protrusion of the knee, the surfer's knot, like you're trying to push the shin bone to the calf into the hamstring, while your right thigh flexes to push the calf into the block. So it's like your left hand is still pulling your left thigh back behind you. Flex your left thigh. Try to flex your calf and pinch the space between your calf and hamstring as tight as you can. Like you would took two fingers and were pinching them tight, right? Do the same with your calf and hamstring on your left leg. I have given myself some pretty gnarly hip and groin cramps doing it. Take a breath. If you can, reach right hand for right foot, but your left hand still pushing that shin towards the calf so the calf and left hamstring can seize tight, flexing the muscles to pull them together. Not true. And then once you feel like your left leg has got it and your right leg is stable, your left hand can also reach for the right foot. So now you fully lengthen both sides of the spine. But did your legs stop working at any point so that you could put pressure somewhere else? Let's take a test. So keep your upper body, whatever it is, even if your hands are touching your calf or you're using a strap, that's okay. Always modify. Don't worry about getting to the full extension. Keep your upper body as it is. And now, for just a moment, stop working your legs as hard and feel what happens. Feel how your body collapses and where the pressure goes in your body, your shoulder, your back, your low back specifically, and the inner groin. So take a moment and from the collapsed position, stay in the pose, try and press your right calf down. Try and press your right thigh down. Try to work your left leg again, not pushing the knee down, but squeezing the space between the calf and the hamstring tight. And then notice you still can't lift your spine in the same way. Because starting from a cramped, curled up position of poor muscle habit, and then trying to pull yourself out of it, it's like working with cold taffy, doesn't move. Got to warm it up. So for last time, left hand goes on the left shin, right hand just behind you, lift your spine up. Remember, doing it a couple times, get some mobility, get the practice of rotation. I like to say you do a pose once you learn it, you do it twice, you feel it, you do it 3 times, then you're really doing it. Push your hand into your shin, lift your spine, flex your left thigh, not to push the knee down. That'll happen one day when your hip opens. Squeeze the calf, flex that left calf muscle and pinch it into the left hamstring. Left hamstring pinches into the calf. Push your right calf into the block and then take your right arm out. Start to move that side of your spine. Take a breath, get that hand in it, chest in it, then take your left hand to your right foot if you want. Feel the difference from the collapsed into the pose versus into the pose into the pose. Different, huh, Trish? You don't have to fight yourself as much. And who needs that? You got a partner at home, you got plenty to fight with, right? We're all stuck inside together right now. At least I fight with my dog all the time. I do. He wants pets 24/7. I got things. You got other fights to have. Don't fight with yourself. Exhale, bring your body up. Stretch your left leg out wide first. Take the block out from your right calf. Put the block under your left calf. Thickest part of the calf towards the thinnest. Always cover the thicker part of your calf. If you want to learn how to feel and move these muscles, support them. All right. Take your right hand to your inner right knee. Pick it up with your hand so you're not gripping the groin. Pull the heel towards your right groin muscle. Right hand touches the front side of the shin near the surfer's knot, not pushing down, but grabbing the front, pushing against it. Trying to pin that right calf to right hamstring. Left fingertips on the floor, lift your spine up. Get that left leg working. So take a moment in here, just in the leg position, before you start overworking the spine. This asymmetry of the legs gives you a chance to work each hip differently, each side of your spine differently. Very important. Also, make sure you're not crunching your shoulders down. You rotate the torso, heart, spine lifted. Push the right hand into the shin. Take your left hand, reach for your left foot. You can grab the calf. You can use the strap, of course, all of that good stuff. Still working that right leg, left leg. Now 1/2 of your upper body's in it. Take your right hand around when you're ready and grab. Can you keep your legs? And at any point during these stages, you feel like you lost a leg, it's okay to go back to where that hand is working to help engage it. Because rather than pull yourself down into it and then have to flex and fight it, don't fight yourself. Start from a position of support and stability. Practice that position of support stability. Continue to encourage that. Right? Remember what I said at the start of class? How do you act in the moment of change? Well, I have, at a lot of points in my life when people have tried to be supportive and kind to me, I've been a jerk. Yoga helps temper that. So practice being supportive to yourself and accepting it gracefully, even if it means having a hip cramp. Don't collapse out of the pose. Bring your body up, chest up. Take your right hand back to your right shin. Left finger's back behind you. I'm having you do it again because I understand how old habits, things get, we get to that urge to pull down. Go for lift, twist to your left. Push that right hand to the shin, reflex that right hamstring, that right calf especially. Make that calf cramp. You can help do it by pushing your right foot into the floor a little harder. Not your knee down, but your foot down. Left hand reaches for left foot. Try to keep all the muscle. Exhale, stretch the right arm out when you're ready. And hold again, work the pose. Breathe. Take a breath, exhale, bring your body up. Take your foot off the block. Stretch both legs straight out in front of you in Dandasana. Take your block. You're going to place it under your right calf muscle, yes, right, on edge. So once you get under your right calf muscle, bend your left knee and take your left foot. This can be a little tricky. Take your left foot onto the outside of your right thigh, foot flat to the floor. You can move into the Bardvajasana. Just got it. Now this is where, for a lot of us, if our hips are tight, we want to fall backwards. If you need to sit on a bolster or something, that's okay. I would rather you raise your hips than not. Trish is opting for some support. So, right calf on the block. She's modeling good supportive work. I appreciate that. And you can sit on a block, a bolster, blankets, books, pillows, whatever you need. So right calf on the block. Left foot goes to the outside. Right arm wraps around the left knee as best it can. You can use your hand or your elbow. And before you start twisting your spine, that left leg on that block needs to work really hard. That right leg pushing down into the block very firmly. The left foot pressing into the floor a bit, the heel and the length of the foot. And then the right arm pulls on the knee. So you move that knee towards the right armpit, and then you move your spine around as best you can. So Bardvajasana. But that right calf, notice that right leg wants to quit real fast. Twisting the spine often rotates the hips. If we keep our legs active, the hips will rotate, but it won't put all the twist on just one point of the groin or the lower spine. We keep the whole twist of the pelvis moving greater muscle in the hip. Mantra. Work the right calf down, just for a few more seconds. Because then I'll give you a chance to do it passively, as I call it. So keep your arms, keep your twist, stop working your right and left leg as hard, and then just try and twist. You move a little deeper with your spine, but notice your right groin may grip. And when you grip in the right groin on a twist, that tells me you're twisting mostly from those lower spine muscles. You're not actually moving the whole muscle set isn't help do the movement. So while you're in the twist, try to flex and push yourself into it. So now reflex your legs while you're twisted and see if you can get that same release. Probably not going to happen. So untwist your spine a little. Push your right calf down, push your left foot down. I know I'm just driving the point home at this point, but I'm preaching to the choir on this one, so I get my moment. Wrap your right arm around the knee, left fingers go back. Work your legs first, then use the arms to pull the leg into it deeper, then twist your spine into it, but always keep your legs. Work from stability, always. I found that I developed a trust with my yoga practice, and I didn't need my teacher to watch me all the time, when I started practicing in some way that I felt safe. I used to feel only safe when my teacher was there. Then once I started actually putting some time in and modifying, playing with it, I realized I knew a lot more. All of you do too. Even if you attend one yoga class, I bet you at least got one pose that you feel that you could do to help you. Untwist, stretch your left leg back out, switch your legs so the left calf is supported by the block. Once your left calf is on the block, place the right foot on the outside of the left thigh. Before you start twisting a lot, get your legs engaged. Left knee slightly bent, push the calf down. Right knee, of course, very bent. Foot pressing into the floor a little. Left arm wraps. Before you start twisting your shoulder, your neck, and everything, pull the right leg into place. Use that strong left arm. It's still pushing into the floor. The right calf pressing down. And then once your legs are engaged, your arms helping pull the knee, twist your torso to the right more, but don't lose your legs. Can you keep your legs involved more? And breathe. Now you're going to hold this for a little while. All right. Take a few deep breaths. Take more than a few if you want. This is your practice. You're cramped now. Yep. All right, untwist. Take your legs out of the pose. Lay on your back. You made it. Can't get no more stable than laying on the floor right now. So lay back, my friends, for a moment or two. Take Savasana. Put your legs up the wall or on a bed or on a chair if you like. Feel free to modify your restorative for your need. When we're all together again in a yoga space, when it's safe, then we'll get crazy with the restorative poses. All right, let your eyes close. Tongue away from the roof of the mouth. Relax your jaws so the teeth barely touch. Swallow, relaxing the inner ear, the throat. And recognizing that simple action, the ease of it, and the awareness that if you go into it wanting to relax in doing so, how something you do day in and day out, swallowing, breathing, can bring about that relaxation when you encourage it to go that way. Breathing is change. Eating is change. Everything we do is a practice of change, and yet we find change can sweep us into places we don't want to be. So recognize your power, my friends. The essence of yoga that is true for each and every one of us is that we are never stuck, static, or stale. But what we suffer through now is temporary, and even the joys that we have may one day leave. But what we take from them, we learn from and grow from ultimately is our choice. How these ever-changing waters of life will nourish us, enrich us, and where they will take us on our journey. Rest for the next few moments. Enjoy the fruits of your yogic practice. Take a nice deep breath in. Stretch the arms overhead, lengthening through one side of your body, then the other. Letting the inhale invigorate you from the tips of the fingers, tips of your toes, all points in between. Roll your body to the right side. Press your palms into the floor and exhale slowly up you come. Until we meet again, Namaste. All right. Real quick.